Hi folks, Chef Ian here from The Underground Chef. Today we're going to be making a chicken velouté. Now veloutés can be made from using chicken stock, we can use fish stock or veggie stock. And that's again one of the mother sauces in French cookery that we can then turn into other things. So our first part of this recipe is heating up our stock. In this case, this is a homemade chicken stock that I made in the Ninja pressure cooker, and if you followed my series on that, that's the result. We're going to heat that through now. We're going to bring it back up to a boil, let it simmer for a bit. So that's going to take some time. In the meantime, if you don't have the time to make your own, we're also now selling at Underground Chef the Bone Roasters chicken stock. This is pre-made. This stock here is the next best thing I can find in the marketplace to replace fresh homemade stock. So it is available. Brilliant product. So if you don't have time to make it fresh, that's the next best thing. So much better than using powdered stocks or some of the liquid stocks that you'll find in the supermarket. So we're going to have let this go heat up. It's going to be about 10 minutes or so. So we'll come back when the stock's nice and hot, and then we'll show you the next stage of how to make our velouté. Okay, so we're back to our chicken velouté. So our stock's heated up. So this is a homemade stock that I made using the Ninja 11-in-1. So that's ready to go. I'm just going to take that off the heat now. But again, I'm just going to reiterate, if you don't have access to fresh homemade, the Bone Roasters is a fantastic product. Again, it's what professional chefs use in the kitchens. 100% natural, there's no nasties in it, and you're going to get a fantastic result. So let's remove that. We'll put this on the stove now. Now, if you saw my video on bechamel, we're making a roux. So, and we made the bechamel sauce up. I guess the difference between a bechamel and a velouté. Bechamel uses milk as the base. In the case of a velouté, we're either using chicken stock, fish stock, or veggie stock. So that's the primary difference. Same sort of processes go through that we're going to make a roux. So we're going to melt that butter down and add. Now, again, the ratio of this is we're making 1 litre of velouté, 80 grams of butter, 80 grams of flour. Plain flour, butter. Again, if you want to make it with either margarine, you can replace that. And same with the flour, you can use gluten-free flour. So we're just going to melt that down and try not to take too long. And then we're going to stir in and mix in. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. Now, the only difference is, in this case, they're making the velouté with the bechamel. We had what they call just a white roux. We're making a blonde roux here. We want a little bit of colour in it. So we're going to stir this little mix on the stove under just some medium heat for a few minutes. And we're going to brown up the actual colour of the roux. And that'll help cook out the starches in there as well. So I'm going to do this for a couple of minutes. It's under heat, and we'll come back with the finished result. Okay, so we're now back to our roux. We're cooking this, as I said, as a blonde roux outside of a white roux. So we're starting to just get a little bit of colour there into that flour and butter mix, and that's what we're looking for. Now, we can take that a step further and call what they call a brown roux. And that's our base for our sauce espagnole, but that's for another time. So we've got that. We're now going to add our stock in. Again, we're just going to ladle, put this in just and mix at the same time with our whisk. Incorporate the beautiful chicken stock and our roux together. So just do this gradually. You will see lumps form, but as you whisk and stir, they will be incorporated. All right. So you can see the colour there of our velouté already. This is that light brown caramel sort of colour. So that's incorporated the stock into that. Again, we're going to let this cook out for a couple of minutes. So I'll come back to you when we got to that stage. Okay, so our chicken velouté now has cooked out and we've got this smooth, beautiful sauce. Now, the velouté, chicken velouté is a base, it's what they call it in the French term, a mother sauce. We can now convert this into a whole lot of different things. We can use this as a base for our sauces. So if we wanted to make a mushroom sauce, saute off some mushrooms, add it to this, and it's going to be a beautiful sauce to go over your chicken with maybe a little bit of cream. Now, I haven't seasoned this velouté. I normally would leave that until I finished the final product. I could use this base, for example, to make a soup. Now, normal pumpkin soup, most people would boil the pumpkins and just puree them down, a bit of cream, and away you go. Puree pumpkin into this with some cream and some seasoning, you're going to get a much richer, full depth flavoured soup. So making velouté is such a great product. And again, velouté can be made with chicken stock, can be made with fish stock. With fish stock, you're doing exactly the same process, but you're just changing the stocks and the flavour profiles. So fish velouté is a really great base for making fish-based sauces. You can add different flavourings to that. I've used a fish velouté as a base for a lobster Newburg to really give it a beautiful, full flavoured mouth. And I guess that's what we're trying to do at Underground Chef, is to take people on a journey and show them how you can get really good flavours by very simple techniques that chefs have been doing for years. So if you were making this, if you're a vegetarian, for example, you could use the vegetable stock and make a vegetable velouté, and that could be your base for lasagnas, especially if you're making, obviously, vegetarian lasagna. If you're making it gluten-free pasta, gluten-free flour, and away you go. Here it is. Here's most magnificent. It's really going to give all your dishes a beautiful taste. People might say the colour. The colour comes from the fact that we've used a beautiful homemade stock, but we've also gone through that process of making a blonde roux and cooking it out. So that's velouté, a great product to have in your kitchen, and has great skill to have for making all your sauces, your bases for soups, so many different things. So I hope you love the tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Hi guys, just a chef's tip with velouté. Veloutés don't freeze very well, so if you made your velouté up, you can put it into your fridge. Again, cool it down rapidly if you're not going to use it straight away. You could, in this recipe, we made 1 litre. Half of it could be used for a sauce. The other half can be used as a base for your soup. But experiment it with it, because it's a great technique and really will elevate your cooking. Okay, cheers.